began with a strange silence, a silence that didn't invite anyone to relax. London moved at its usual rhythm, lights flashing, cars driving, paparazzi chasing the scent of news. But there was something different, something that felt like a storm, deliberately holding back before it struck. Inside the dressing room, lit by soft yellow lights, Diana stared at her reflection, not as a princess, not as the wife of the heir to the throne, but as a woman who tonight had to choose silence or rise. And the world is never ready when a woman who has been suppressed decides to rise. Charles's confession had been broadcast. His words still echoed across England. I was faithful, until it became clear that the marriage had irretrievably broken down. Diana knew it was a half-lie, and half-lies are the subtlest form of betrayal. Behind that dressing room door, the world was judging whether a princess would sink or fight. Royal advisors hoped she wouldn't show up that night. They thought her appearance would embarrass the monarchy, muddy the waters, and make her appear to be begging for sympathy. But Diana had learned one thing: silence can be more deadly than words. For silence had been a weapon the palace had used to keep her submissive. And that night, she decided to break that weapon. Before her hung a black dress she had never planned to wear. It was too bold, too inappropriate for a traditional English princess. A dress she had kept for years, but never dared touch on a formal occasion. Not because she lacked confidence, but because the unwritten royal code dictated that a princess should be elegant, gentle, true to tradition, and not steal the spotlight from the heir to the throne. But what if the world's attention had already been captured by treachery? Wouldn't silence make her appear defeated? Diana took a deep breath. Her hands trembled, not from hesitation, but because she knew what that night meant. The world would see a woman no longer bound by protocol. The world would see a different Diana than the one they knew. Or even more frightening, the world would see the real Diana, without the palace behind her. I'm sorry if you wear this, the public will. I know, Diana replied, not taking her eyes off the dress. I just want them to see. As the clock ticked toward the ceremony, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. Television cameras across the country were still showing the commentators' reactions to Charles's confession. Reporters outside the ceremony were predicting whether Diana would show up. The guards waited anxiously, accustomed to protocol, unaccustomed to rebellion. And in the midst of it all, Diana stood, holding a dress that would change the history of fashion, the history of monarchy, and the history of modern female resistance. As the dress wrapped around her body, she felt something she had never felt during her time as a member of the royal family. Freedom. Not freedom from royal duties, not freedom from dress codes, but freedom from fear. The fear that had confined him for years within the cold palace walls and full of judging eyes. She remembered her first moments as a princess, the forced smiles, the tiring parades, the cold comments about the way she stood, walked, smiled, even breathed. All of this makes him the epitome of perfection. But perfection is a delicate prison, and Diana wanted to break it that night. Departure. A black car with tinted windows waited outside. When Diana stepped out, the evening breeze touched her skin, exposed by the design of the dress, something unusual for a royal princess. Even his bodyguards were taken aback for a moment, but no one dared say anything. There was an aura around her, yet dangerous to anyone who tried to extinguish it. The car sped off. Diana watched the city through the window. The city lights looked like tiny, judgmental eyes. But that was precisely why she felt so confident. The world could see. The world had to see. As the car pulled up in front of the venue, hundreds of cameras flashed almost simultaneously. The newscasters reporting the event stopped talking. The photographers were stung like a flock of birds, suddenly seeing a flash of fire. No one was truly prepared. They were waiting for a broken Diana. What came was a risen Diana. As she stepped out, the lights reflected off the black satin of her dress. The dress didn't beg for mercy. It was a defiant dress. Every fold seemed to say, I see the pain, and I choose not to give in. Every movement seemed to say, I will not be silent. But there was one thing the public didn't know. Never shown on television, never recorded by any camera. Diana didn't actually intend to wear that dress. Something or someone had made her change her mind. 5 minutes before she was to leave. Something she never told, even her closest friends. Something that would change the course of her life, far more than that night itself.